Jai Hindley, left foot forward, leaning against a box draped in a red cloth, other hand on his hip. Like a cycling George Clooney, effortlessly trying to sell me the latest Nespresso machine. Lotte Kopecky and Primoz Roglic come next, looking the most regal. Straight backs, slightly upturned noses, they could be characters depicted in an oil painting hanging on the wall of a stately home. The commission paid for with the loot of some now long forgotten atrocity.
Okay. All right. Vivid wording.
They are the beautiful words of Johnny Long from the Escape Collective. It's not a Mills and Boon novel. It could be.
Doesn't get paid enough, frankly. Fantastic. So this is, we're going to talk about this today, a group shot that's not a group shot, basically. It's fantastic. And we've got a group of the world's leading cyclists, including our Jumpin' Jai, with the tuxes on, posing in front of the infamous wind. Is it the wind tunnel?
Yes.
The actual wind tunnel.
Well, the next line is Demi Vollering is next and appears to both be the only one whose hair has been affected by the turbines behind and whose manner most reflects the stated Met Ball theme. Remco of VdPoel either looks like a father at a wedding watching someone dancing with his daughter who is primed to intervene at any second, or one of those men-targeted social media ads that tells you how you're going to earn $10,000 a month and drive a Lamborghini with only 8 hours of work a day. Casper Asgreen is at the same wedding as Remco, but has drunk 17 more beers.
Yes, accurate, I would say.
So that's the picture we're describing.
There it is there. What about Roglic's pulling his cheeks in?
Yeah, he's got the
Looks good.
Do you mean the butt cheeks?
No, my goodness.
You thought he was clenching.
Well, yes.
No, the regal pose, as they say, the sort of head tilted back a little bit, and the sucky. He's eating a sour lolly.
Do you reckon Remco's armed? Do you reckon he's got a pistol in there somewhere?
I think maybe he's, trying out for the next Succession. I mean, is this the next Succession group shot?
I do like the description for Julian Alaphilippe. Now, this is, of course, the specialised wind tunnel photo that we refer to.
It is.
The name is Alaphilippe. Julian Alaphilippe. That's pretty cool.
It is.
But you know what? I think
Yes.
what I note from this photo is that Demi Vollering looks like she wants to kill someone. Just like she's on the bike.
It could be a James Bond photo. I think what's best about this photo is we have so much exciting cycling going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been giggling about since it came out. I mean, the photo was funny enough, but Johnny Long's descriptions, I think.
Oh, vivid.
Beautiful.
But the best thing about this photo on the Wheelhouse podcast, I won't say we can exclusively reveal, but we can reveal that it wasn't taken in the same place at the same time. It's Photoshop magic. Merksy can illuminate us on this. This podcast now, Merksy, are Kate and I even in the same location?
Well, today you are, yes. It's great, isn't it?
Yes.
It is great.
But yeah, they took single shots of everyone and then in Photoshop laid them together. I thought it was exciting that they'd all be together having a chat, talking about the season to come, but no, just in little hotel rooms.
I thought they might have gone and, had a dance.
Oh, well,
afterwards
gone
in
to a
their
cocktail
frocks
ball.
and-
Yeah.
We'll put it on our socials.
Check it out. Check it out. It's a very attractive photo. It's inspired our next promotional photo shoot for the Wheelhouse. We'll all check in a room at a Best Western and throw up a green screen and put ourselves in a James Bond movie, basically. I think it sounds excellent.
I'm all in.
Excellent. The centre of the sporting universe is Adelaide at the moment, whether you like it or not. Cycling, cricket. Maybe if you're a tennis fan, you prefer Melbourne, but Adelaide is where it's at. Now, so much so that none other than Phil Liggett was on the cricket broadcast on day 2 of the first test between Australia and the West Indies, explaining the nuances of the two-wheeled science to the likes of Ricky Ponting.
Excellent.
And Punter, as he's known, was absolutely captivated by who's. Let's be honest, who's not? It's Phil.
Hold on, I'm gonna call a bit of BS here though, because when I grew up at the AIS that was in Adelaide down at Del Monte, and any of my Del Monte mates listening will know exactly where I'm going with this. We share the AIS with cricket. And we had the likes of Ricky Ponting sharing the halls with us.
No way.
Yes, I believe, maybe my sister actually. Somebody has a photo of Ricky Ponting at about 2:00 in the morning in red budgie smugglers walking through the hallways. And the photo was taken because they would come home at such late hours and disturb the cyclists who were, very walking the line, wanting to get some sleep.
Yeah.
We were also quite young at that stage, to be honest. And anyway, the cricketers moved out. But Ricky Ponting, if he paid attention, should know a fair bit about the cycling.
So you reckon he's foxing? He's
I reckon
feigning.
He might be.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing Phil Liggett loves more than cycling is birds.
Yeah.
And then probably third in line is cricket.
No. Third in line is the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast.
Fourth in line is
cricket. But it is absolutely all happening at the Tour Down Under. And what I'm loving is the international feel of the event. Some of the names that have turned out this year. Not all of them, let's be honest, not all of them delighting fans with their displays so far. It gets you, that Aussie heat and those Aussie inclines. It's not quite the Alps, but hey, it gets you nonetheless.
Well, on stage one, it was reported to be about 33, 34 degrees. But at the finish, they said that it was more like, in Tanunda, they said it was more like 36 degrees standing around. But they measured the temperature on the road, 50 degrees.
50 degrees.
Yeah, 50 degrees. And it's, as a rider, do you know how much sunscreen you have to put on the back of your legs? It's actually quite difficult to keep the back of your legs from getting burnt.
Yeah.
Because, obviously sweat.
Yes, of course.
In those conditions.
Yep.
But yeah,
I felt for the girls
pretty
early, getting out there and absolutely smashing it in ridiculous heat. But it's one of those things. I think if you sign up for the Tour Down Under, you're a fool if you think you're going to be riding in mild 23, partly cloudy sort of skies.
Never going to happen. No.
So, hat tip to all of them, and a few have absolutely emerged so far, Catherine. I know that you've been very excited, and I want to give you a massive shout out for your coverage. You have been given stage wraps. You can see them on our social media. If you're not up to date, get out there. There are far worse voices to hear the insight from, let me tell you, Kate, doing a great job.
What an intro that is, Joel.
Well, I'm trying to say, the best possible voice to hear it from.
I love it. I mean, it's been quite fun doing stage wraps because trying to fit a stage wrap into 90 seconds is exceptionally difficult.
Yeah.
When you're a talker like I am.
Yep.
And learning to be that succinct takes a few goes. I'll say that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's upping my skill.
They're punchy.
Yep.
They're to time.
They are to time.
They're to time.
Yeah, because the software I use, they just cut me off.
Oh, yeah, you can't.
It's not like go over or there's like it will just stop recording.
Are you having nightmares going back to your career thinking of the cut, thinking of missing the cut every time is that what you compare in your mind? Is that the parallel?
Well, it's like being on the start line and you see the 10-second countdown.
Yeah.
You can't miss it.
Merxy, can you confirm smooth one-take wonders for our stage
she's
raps?
very good. I do try and keep you to time, but you just ignore me most of the time.
Sorry, is someone talking? Anyway, Kate, where were we only kidding, Merxy. Look, Sam Welsford. So let's talk about Australia's Pog. I've gone out there, I've said it. I think you've made the comparison.
Super Sam!
He's been outstanding.
He has been outstanding. He comes off a very solid track background. Before that, rugby. He was a rugby player.
A high school rah-rah boy.
Yes.
And I think some transferable skills, not just physically, but up between
mentally.
the ears as well.
I said to one of the kids the other day that was watching, Sam Welsford, you can always see him in the bunch because he's got the broadest set of shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
It's the easiest way to pick him. I mean, he's quite, they call him, or Jet Nagel from the press room, he called him at Nationals the Wombat. And I thought, I suppose he is quite low to the ground. He's, quite a stocky rider. Looks like he still could be a rugby player, to be honest. But he's been world champion 3 times on the track, twice in the team's pursuit. Once in the scratch race. We know he's got a really good turn of speed on him. But what he hasn't really had to date, he was with DSM last year, he's moved to Bora now, is a really great lead out. Mm-hmm. And so it's been this beautiful intersection of Bora desperately needing that big sprinter, the fast sprinter, the one that they can put all their faith in and know that if they do their job, he'll do his job. And Sam's also needed the faith from a team, the support, and also that lead out.
Yep.
And certainly this week. I mean, it was a beautiful lead out from Danny Van Poppel.
Yep.
And when we were watching it, the best thing we saw, very reminiscent of Mark Squared, Cavendish and Renshaw, was that Van Poppel still finished in the top 10 and rode over the line with his hands in the air. It was really cool. It was like the winner, like that. That's a good lead out when your lead out man is inside the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then you're protecting them until they just get past you.
Yeah.
Like it was so beautifully done.
It was like a textbook. It was like, this
really
is how
was.
the ideal version of this goes.
It was.
Yeah. Hello,
It was.
Mercy.
Sam Bennett wouldn't be too happy with some of the comments around that race.
Did you? Joel, there's been a lot of very funny commentary around it, but he said, Danny Van Poppel said, "We have a better Sam."
Oh.
Sorry, Sam Bennett.
We had a better Sam today. Now, he wasn't talking about a better version of Sam Welsford by any stretch. He wasn't saying this was the best possible. He was saying, no, he's better than the other Sam.
No, yeah.
Categorically, that's what I'm saying.
But he said he was mates with Sam Bennett too.
Yeah, like he said nothing against the guy. Sam Bennett's, essentially a top bloke. He didn't use those words because he's not Aussie, but give him a few months with Sam Welsford and he will be, I'm sure. But yeah, he said it's nothing personal. He just didn't have what we needed and it was becoming quite frustrating. And that does then affect personal relationships because you're so close and you want to be working together. But he has a lot of faith in Sam Welsford. He said he's only been on the World Tour for 2 years. He can be the next big sprinter.
I'm
words.
interested
I love
in this, especially with the, we'll get into it, but Caleb struggling a little bit. He's got some reason, but not doing his best. And I have heard more than one commentator say, "Have we got a new fast man in the making as well?" Which is interesting.
I think they're different styles of rider. Like Caleb, from my estimation of seeing them both on the track and on the road, Caleb has a bit more explosion and a bit more speed from acceleration, but Sam is so powerful that he holds higher powers for longer and can go longer, and the lead out can go for longer as well. It's a really different kind of sprinter because not all sprinters are the same, by no means at all. And you have a lot of sprinters like, say, Peter Sagan, who early in his day was considered a sprinter, by the end of his career not, because those kind of sprinters, like Mark Renshaw is a really good example, they're really quick when they're young, but as they gain experience in years, they tend to slow down. Their power goes up, but they're different kinds of sprinters. Their sprinting profile changes. The pure sprinters like Caleb and Mark Cavendish, their sprinting profile never really changes. And Andre Greipel is another one. They are just so fast. I think Sam Welsford sits a bit in the middle, where I can see a day where he can still be up there in a classic when it's a pretty whittled down bunch, because I think he's a lot more than his enormous speed.
Wow. Okay, there you go. So this is his elevation, and let's be fair. He's as you've pointed out before, he's no slouch and no stranger to success. Of course, he's had success at Olympic level as well, World Championship level. But we're seeing it come out here on this stage among some, as we say, some genuine heavyweights of the sport. It's massive.
Well, it is massive. His second World Tour win and his first ever World Tour lead because he took the Oka jersey. But straight after, he was discussing how what he really wanted from the season was an Olympic gold medal.
Wants a gold.
He's got a silver, he's got a bronze. He is hunting for that gold. So I think he's a really dynamic rider with really big ambitions and, start the debate. Oh, why is he focusing on the Olympics when he could go to the Tour de France? But you've got to listen to the riders. What motivates them? For him, it's that Olympic gold medal.
It's the Olympic gold medal. Speaking of someone who deserves an Olympic gold medal around their neck. Hello, Merksy.
Just wanted to say, someone else in that sprint who stood out for mine was Biniam Gourmet. He was coming hard. He weaved his way through there, had no lead out, but if it was 30 metres longer, he would have won that race, I reckon.
He would have got home. So fourth, I believe, in stage 1 and 2 for Biniam to put him up there in the G. We love Biniam. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
We have... I'm not going to say we identified him, but we've always been on team
Binny.
Yeah, we really
Team Binny.
really have. Yeah, and it's good to see. And I'm glad you brought that into the conversation, Merksy. Someone who's not delighting fans as much, and probably not delighting Patrick Lefevre as much with his work, is Lulu, of course, Julian Alaphilippe. It's like he has been racing in a dinner suit, Kate, is what they'd say in football.
Nobody really expected him to be right up the front. I mean, he might ride into a bit of form, and Wollonga, he might be a bit better, but the most I've seen of him on the coverage, and I will say I've had toilet breaks. I haven't been there every single minute of it.
You haven't seen every stroke, okay.
But was when he got a flat tyre and on stage 1. But, you know, I think that it's early season and he's got a big season ahead. He's looking toward the Giro, so meh. But it's, you know, the other one is Caleb, of course, because everybody had a lot of anticipation for what Caleb can do. But I think that's almost unnecessary pressure because he's got a new team, a new lead out, a group of guys who are exceptional lead out riders and what they do, but you need to find that combination. Mm-hmm. And it's unrealistic to think that a sprinter can just drop in and it work so perfectly, especially when the lead out riders, a lot of them are younger as well. I think they can work beautifully together and he'll have a lot of wins, but it could take some time. And it might just click. But if it doesn't just click, I don't think that we should all of a sudden be saying, Caleb, why isn't he rising?
Yeah.
Caleb was a little sick too, leading into that race.
He did have a couple of ailments, quite a list of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, he missed the Classic because of that.
Yeah.
And so he has been a little bit unwell. I'm going to bring back a segment right in the middle here, Joel.
Let's do it.
A WTF.
Yeah, here
UCI.
it is. I've been wondering where it's been.
Because at the Tour Down Under, for the first time since they introduced the regulations about the lever angles. So it has to be no more than 10 degrees off the natural plane of the handlebars, right? Mm-hmm. And they've had these little machines at the Tour Down Under measuring them and do you think, okay, that's great. I mean, whether or not you agree with the rule is a secondary thing. But what's happening now is that companies are just designing bars that are the proper width at the bottom, so have to be over 35 centimetres, 350 mil, but they're angling in to be narrower at the top so that you don't have to angle your bar, your levers in and it still fits.
Yeah.
So I guess
loophole, hello.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like with the UCI coming out with these rules, it doesn't take long for them to be circumvented.
Yeah.
At all. And are we just going to see a continual bounce around rules like this when it comes to comfort and safety? Are they going to have to instill a rule that you can only use one kind of handlebar that has to be one specification only?
Yep.
I think the UCI did not think this one through.
Bring back the old school, remember the old U-shaped BMX handlebars?
Oh, bring them back.
Like
yeah,
they were great. The hammer bars, I think.
Well, and especially when handlebars now can be 3D printed legally.
Yep.
The sky's the limit in terms of how quickly they can design them.
Merksy.
Those new aero bars that they just designed, $3,500 Australian dollars.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well,
said no one.
And see, we go, oh my gosh. But realistically, we're talking about guys that earned 6 million euros a year. Is that really a big deal? If they're the handlebars that they think they need to compete?
More on cycling's rich list a little bit later in the show, mind you. There's some completely unsurprising revelations around who's making the bucks. But anyway.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the UCI is, hard at work at the Tour Down Under, measuring sock height, measuring bars.
Your favourite topic is sock height.
I know.
But I just sometimes think the UCI, and look, any governing body, there's a lot to think about, but sometimes it's like not every corner is covered, not every ramification or impact is factored into these laws, and so they're potentially easy to circumvent.
I think someone's just trying to keep their job.
Yeah.
It's like, what rule can I bring in this time?
I think they need to have a limitation on the size of those time trial helmets. That's what they need a rule on.
Well, one of the new, I did see a picture of Filippo Ganna out training, not with an aero helmet on, just a regular helmet, where it now covers his ears.
Yeah, the ears. Yeah, I saw that.
Tucks his little ears in.
He's looking more and more like a stormtrooper with every ride.
I mean, it's helpful insofar as you don't have to worry about putting sunscreen on your ears.
Yeah.
But
how long
point
is
of
it
view.
before we see someone time trialing in this, the Darth Vader helmet.
Well, not long.
Not long at all, I
Not
say.
long at all.
With breather and everything.
Yeah, maybe with the...
Yeah, all of it.
I didn't do that noise very well, did I?
The voice amplifier. Yeah, can you imagine the post-race chat? You know?
Well, yes. Well, speaking of post-race chats, Merksy and I felt for Scott McGrory yesterday at the end of the stage when he was tasked with interviewing Isaac Del Toro.
Yep.
We've got to talk about him. He is unbelievably proficient, this guy. But he was so overwhelmed with emotion, literally lost for words.
He couldn't find his words,
and
could he?
Scott tried to ask him a few questions, and the first question, I think he said no 5 times with excitement, not like no, go away, but no, so excited. And the next one was a bit like, I have no words. Last season, no, wow.
Yeah, it's the
Scott
exhilaration.
gave up.
Yeah, I love that Scott knew when it was time to just put the cue in the rack.
You know,
with that one.
He was doing his best, but that win on stage 2 of the Tour Down Under was unbelievable. The guy's 20 from Mexico, from Baja, so it just sounds like a nice relaxing
One of the Baja
place.
men, yes.
And he rides for UAE. He is set to be one of the biggest superstars. He was literally hours into his World Tour career. It's his first year riding on the World Tour.
This is the thing. This is what the 2024 TDU is doing. These Grand Tour, and as I say, like Sam, not exactly, fresh off the rack, but doing these beautiful things on the cusp of another big season and making these statements that could go on to be something quite spectacular. Like, who knows where it goes? Hopefully for Sam, it's an Olympic gold medal, of course. But the likes of Isaac coming on the other side of Fox Creek, and some of those, again, those names falling back, struggling. Like you said, it wasn't quite Lulu's stage, but he was, I'm done. I'm out quite early. I'm swinging out of this one. He wasn't alone. I want to ask you about Plappy as well, because I think he's been earnest and up and about.
He has. Well, yesterday's... stage 2 of the Tour Down Under, Plappy tried in resplendent in his national champions
Didn't he
jersey,
look good? Yeah.
to give it a crack over Fox Creek Hill. And he tried with a guy who won from Ineos, from Ecuador. He won the Tour Down Under Classic the other day, so he's in good form.
Yeah.
Jonathan Narvaez. I hesitated with the name there because in the post-race interview, Plappy was a bit kinder to Scott McGrory, gave him a few more words, but he just kept saying, I knew it wasn't going to work with Johnny Navarro. And
I did hear
his name is not Johnny Navarro. His name is Jonathan Narvaez.
Yeah.
But I just love how so quickly Plappy, Aussifies him, gives him a good Aussie nickname.
Yeah.
So from now on, Johnny Navarro. It is.
That's outstanding.
And he won the Classic the other day. And in second and third, we had an Eritrean and then Mexican, and that was Del Toro in third. If you look at the cycling history of Ecuador, Mexico, and Eritrea, they are such tiny, tiny cycling nations. I mean, to the point where Ecuador's only ever had one rider in the Tour de France. Eritrea's had 4, Mexico's had 3. That's in the history.
In the entire, okay.
I mean, it happens that one of the Mexicans in the Tour de France history was the legendary climber Raul Alcala, and he won a couple of stages. So it was a good Mexican that came before.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about with the likes of Del Toro is a generational talent. And one of the really big indicators, aside from his ripping win, obviously pretty impressive, was that he won the Tour de l'Avenir in 2023, which is the race of the future. Mm-hmm. So it's for under 23s. It hasn't always been like that. It used to be for amateurs, but it's morphed into that. And winning that is almost the single biggest indicator of future potential and success. And a couple of the names that have won the Tour de l'Avenir before, Joop Zoetemelk, who won the Tour de France in 1980, Greg LeMond, who, of course, won the Tour de France in 86, 89 and 90. Miguel Indurain, who won the Tour from 92 to 95. Mark Madio, who we know as the now team director.
Of course.
And he won Roubaix in 91 and 85. Fignon won the Tour de France twice. Quintana won the Giro and the Vuelta. Egan Bernal won the Tour de France. Pogacar won the Tour de France. Tobias Foss was world time trial champion in Wollongong, you'd remember.
Yep.
And now Isaac Del Toro.
No pressure.
Like that. How's that list?
A luminous list. Hi, Merksy.
Well, Robbie McEwen compared him to Pog, didn't he? On
Did
the
hear that.
broadcast.
He
Yeah,
did. I mean,
absolutely.
it's a pretty clear line to draw as well, not least because he's in the same team and Pogacar is literally his mentor. It's fantastic. So, look, I'm really excited by this young rider, and I think even the way he interviewed at the end, and he did eventually get a few more words out, and he just said, it's a bit too much for me. I'll just try and enjoy it, but it's a bit too much. I just didn't expect it. And that kind of humility from a rider who's been chased by teams. Like when you win the Tour de l'Avenir, you are chased, literally chased around the car park by agents. Okay, not literally, but I like that. I like to have that picture
You're
in
not
my
like
head.
literally running around the car park, fending them
in
off.
his cleats, fending
elbows, kicking with your cleats. Yeah,
No.
okay, yeah.
No, but and so to still have that humility is
It's massive.
sensational.
My question is, does that humility remain intact? If you do, you go big, you win something big, you continue to win. I would like to cite Pogacar as someone who's confident and loves to eyeball his opponents and tell them that their time is up.
Yeah.
But still, I think resonates an overall vibe that could be described as being pretty close to humble.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that they've done a really good job in that team of keeping everybody
Yeah.
pretty grounded,
Yeah.
and you never get quotes, you never see social media, you never see anything that makes them seem like a bit of a douche canoe.
Yep.
They all just seem like pretty cool.
Not a bunch of...
Ding
I won't say the swear word. I'm going to stick with douche canoe. No, that's absolutely
I like
correct.
douche canoe. And it's... last week we were talking, Joel, about Bike Bug, that they've just opened a big Colnago warehouse up here in Queensland in Darra that we're going to visit tomorrow as it happens. And so I've been having a little bit of fun looking up all the equipment that UAE use because we might get a look at it all tomorrow. And they have, I mean, their equipment is best in field.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, they ride Colnago V4Rs, but I was even looking at their cool sunglasses and their bottle cages, like everything is nailed perfectly. And listen, I was thinking they're not the cheapest bikes in the world. So maybe we could like get together as a syndicate and I'm going to propose two things. We could either like buy one as a group and then share it.
Yeah.
And just get a frame that would fit most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are for leisure rides.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Coffee
not like
shop.
a horse racing syndicate where
no,
you buy
just
into a horse.
so that we can all borrow it to pop it against the wall at the coffee shop
Fantastic.
and put our pictures on social media and
If
look
we
cool.
if we doubled our investment, maybe we could
Yeah.
buy a rider to represent us in some
could.
GTs.
We could. Well, and my other idea was maybe we could get a bulk discount. Everybody, if they want to DM us, we can see, DM us with your frame size and order, and maybe we can, knock them down a bit more from the wheelhouse discount we get, which is wheelhouse. Pop that code in.
10% right
Yeah.
there.
Maybe
Every
we
little
could-
bit counts.
Maybe we could talk them up to 12% for a bulk.
Dare I be
discount. I
bold
don't
and
know.
suggest 12.5 because it feels like a neat economic figure.
There you go.
Okay,
First
I really
10
like
orders
it.
in.
You've heard of timeshare, but the Wheelhouse has just introduced bike share. Get
Yeah.
on board and don't forget bikebug.com, 10%. That code is Wheelhouse and some wonderful deals on offer. I love we're hearing some feedback for those that have taken advantage of that they are absolutely loving it. It was obviously around at Christmas, but coming into the new year, Tour Down Under time, everyone's thinking about kit. And this is a great opportunity to take advantage of it. So please do so. And, of course, that new showroom at Darra, which is currently being fraudulently showcased in the Boy Swallows Universe Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't shoot in Darra. They shot in Chelmer, but it's made to look like 1980s Darra.
Oh, yeah.
But just a beautiful part of Brisbane and made even more beautiful by the presence of a Colnago showroom. So thank you, Bike Bug.
Yeah. I'll make a little picture reel.
Oh, please do.
Merxie's in the back going, so much time in the industry, and she calls it a picture reel.
What do you think?
I'm working on it.
Maxie, a picture reel.
Oh my goodness! I just wanted to show you something. It's a funny photo of him. I'm going to try this. It's of Del Toro, but someone photoshopped. And look at him.
Oh, a bull.
Yeah, he's powerful as a bull.
They put a bull
Bull's
with a
head.
helmet on his head.
That's
That's
outstanding.
fantastic.
Yeah, look,
That's what I'm doing back here, just looking at Instagram.
Yeah, you're working hard back there. I mean, we love our nicknames.
the bull is an outstanding nickname.
But we've had a bit of a hiatus, but we love our documentary names.
Yeah.
The Bull.
The
That's
horny
simple.
bull. Is that too...
Wow.
Did I straddle a line then?
I think maybe you change genres.
Well, he's got to look at the photo.
No, I
It's a
get it. But
gigantic
that's kind of one
horns.
of the features of all bulls, is it not?
The rump steak. No, that's sending the wrong message.
No, I think just the bull.
Let's go back to the first idea.
The
No
Mexican
bad
bull.
ideas. There you go.
I'm so sorry I showed the photo.
Thanks for the photo, Merksy.
You'll learn from that.
To keep us on track. Isaac Del Toro, one to watch. Sam Welsford. And what I have loved is that power. We spoke about that rugby background. And I know it's only at a high school level, but we've seen there's a cliche in football that is a sort of player that other players want to play with. And I think that when that applies in cycling, and we see it from the likes of a Wout van Aert or someone who rides every now and then pulls out just this beautiful team performance, we're seeing signs of that. I just want to quickly point out the leg drive of this guy. Years of scrummaging, getting down low, bending the shoulders, going up against, unstoppable force, immovable object.
Very
whatever that
wombat-like,
quote is.
isn't it?
It's wombat-like.
It
But
is.
that power, he's got a base there that I think has been honed whilst getting beaten up on a rugby field over many years. So good luck to him. I think it is outstanding. Hello, Merksy.
Do you know what else he has, Joel?
Go on.
He has a disgusting moustache and some serious ink.
He does have some
He does.
ink, doesn't
The
he?
ink's cool. The moustache looks like a caterpillar I saw in the park the other day.
I don't mind the moustache.
It's not even Movember.
Is that his? Are we working toward a nickname here, Mo Man?
I don't know. I mean, for now, I think we're just the wombat. But
Inky Bill.
Inky Bill.
Inky Bill. Any Aussie fan
it.
would remember that. The
Inky Bill.
classic Blinky Bill. There
I
you
like
go.
that. Well, and we need to get onto Baz Zempilis over in Perth.
I thought you were going to say Baz Luhrmann.
No.
So we're going to make the movie. It's
Could
going to
do
be a
that too.
glitzy musical.
Well, no, but while we're going for Joe Hindley and Ben O'Connor,
Yeah.
Glitzy, we can get Inky Bill in on the statue too.
That's the really, really good shout, Kate. Let's slide into Baz's DMs. He's a fan of the show. We've had regular correspondence on the. Everyone who listens and watches thinks we're joking about the statue campaign.
We're not.
We're not.
Baz, we are coming for you. We are coming for the city of Perth. We want statues.
Yeah,
There
we
you
can
go.
talk to him at Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Controversial.
Coming up, more information on that as well. So big shout out, Sam Welsford. But I just want to go, if we don't mind now, to one of the best quotes that I've heard. People thought I was washed up at 23.
Yes.
Washed up at 23.
Well,
Whoever
we're not
said
talking
that,
about Sam Welsford.
stick that in your jumper, because Slipstream Sarah, as she's handled, I believe, on Instagram, is certainly not washed up. Never was. Probably never will be, based on her performance. Sarah Gigante, of course. Have you sent her a gift, Kate?
Not since then.
No.
We sent her a gift before Christmas.
Yes.
So Kerry was able to wrap what we sent, not knowing what it was, and so she
good.
did have a surprise. Kerry's her mum, of course. Now we're of course talking about the incredible Sarah Gigante and her incredible win up Wollonga Hill, thus taking the overall victory at the Women's Tour Down Under. She's a bit of a cult legend in Aussie cycling, and I think that's because in many ways she's really human. She's really approachable. She's super talented, but already in her young years has had an incredibly large amount of challenges thrown at her, and her physical and mental resilience. It's really impressive.
As is that word again, that word humility. And I think that, we love an underdog. We love a battler, but she is neither of those things. But she projects herself with such humility that you just get on side with her. And seeing her perform the way she has, and let's be fair, some absolute Hollywood names in that women's race, of course.
Well, there were, because Cecily Uttrup Ludwig, she won the stage into Stirling. Ali Wollaston, New Zealand, who's been world champion on the track, albeit as a junior, but a medalist as a senior just last year, actually, in Glasgow in the team's pursuit. And someone will be looking to see with a medal around their neck at the Olympic Games in Paris this
Indeed.
year. Big field. Every stage was won by somebody that nobody was surprised. There were no surprises. It was like, the people who we thought would won.
Got it done.
But I think what was potentially surprising was how well AG Insurance, Soudal Quickstep, blah, 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 say that in a hurry, went.
There's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, so because Ali Wollaston is with them, so they won stage 1, stage 3 with Sarah Gigante and the overall.
Yep.
So really impressive ride from that team. In fact, I think the girls kind of broke Paddy Lefevre.
I was going to say, it
think he
didn't
did.
go unnoticed, the
No,
performance.
Look, he didn't use a lot of words, but he said, congrats, girls.
That's it?
Yeah.
Just 2 words?
Girls. Not a lot of people love the girls bit, but we can probably understand why. Merksy.
Merksy.
I just want to give a shout out to Anna Mears on the coverage for the way she pronounces Cecily Uttred Ludwig.
With the roll, the little
Yeah,
yeah, it is nice. It's respectful, isn't it?
It does
Yeah.
justice to it.
It does. It's
Tough
not unlike
one.
another
Yeah.
commentator I heard wrapping it up saying Cecilia. And look, I am glass houses. I am not throwing stones about name pronunciations.
Well,
but,
I think the point I've come to in commentary is if you can't say it right,
don't say it.
don't say it at all. Like, when somebody doesn't know how to say it when they start saying number 38, the rider from Poland.
Yeah.
That's a common one. The Polish names are often a little bit difficult to
tricky.
pronounce, but you know what? The internet is very good to help you.
But remember last year, I think, one of the ladies' teams put out videos of them saying their own names.
Yes.
So there was no
They
doubt.
did,
So
yeah.
clever. I can't
It's
remember
so
who that was.
clever. But if you're with a number of commentators and you're all saying it differently, either all say it wrong, but
Yeah.
the same.
Oh,
Or
mate,
the
absolutely.
same.
Just ask Johnny Vingago.
Yeah, so
about
well
that.
done to Anna for her beautiful pronunciation. But, I think that the women's race, it can go longer. That's
Yes.
one of my observations.
It's one and done, isn't it?
Snappy,
Yeah,
3
yeah,
days.
yeah.
I think, and there is talk of that. They've talked about how to extend it, and I think that would do honour to the race.
Yep.
The teams then stay for the most part for the Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road Race, but for the women, there's a pretty big gap. There's nearly 2 weeks between because the men's still down under is wedged in the middle there. So I think that the women's could go longer. Another big takeaway for me this year was that from the outside, it may look like some of the Aussies who we thought would really prevail didn't. Grace Brown was one. Spratty did really well up Wollonga and ended up finishing 4th. So close, but no cigar. The Liv Jayco Alula ladies possibly weren't as up in the results as we expected. But what I will say is that we talked about last week how difficult the start of the season was with news of Mel Hoskins.
Of course.
And for the female riders, to the Aussies who knew her and loved her and trained with her, raced with her, it has been so exceptionally difficult. I
Yeah.
can tell you from being on the ground and having conversations that there is a long path to acceptance and processing it, and you cannot expect them to be able to perform at their absolute best amongst that.
Of course not.
Sometimes in these circumstances, you get somebody who just performs out of their skin, but then a week later, they're just a mess because it gets you at some time.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of us have not been sleeping particularly well, and there's just each day more conversations trying to figure it all out. So I actually reckon MVP to all the Aussie girls who race Tour Down Under, who race Nationals, who race Cadels, who are trying their very best to honour Mel and to get on with it, but are paying the price for that.
Yeah.
So that's my little shout out, because I've seen a
Yep.
few comments like, the Aussies were a bit disappointing, or, what happened to Grace Brown? And I just kind of wanted to reach through social media and give them a donk on the head.
little donk on the head.
And say, no good.
They are cyclists. They're elite athletes. They're amazing. They're also human. And this
Yeah.
cloud has been hovering over the sport, and of course,
It has.
very closely impacting the Australian women. But going that point as well, that this women's race is it cannot be a curtain raiser at the Tour Down Under. And if we want these big names to keep coming and to treat this as a genuine, here comes the year, let's go to Adelaide and fire up for it. Let's give them the canvas. Let's give them the runway to do that moving forward. And congrats to all of the Aussie girls who did it amid the memory of Mel, and obviously the passing, the timing, and the funeral, and all of that happening as well. And as you said really eloquently, still trying to puzzle out and work out exactly what on earth has gone down.
And then you see these incredible moments like Sarah Gigante atop Wollonga, going up in the second fastest ever
was
time.
Was she on a motorbike?
History. Almost.
Yeah,
she
felt like she was on a super bike.
And she crossed the line, and these massive flow of emotion. Her mother, Kerry, and her brother, Scott, were there. They are her absolute support team.
Yep.
The embrace and the emotion from Sarah saying, they said I was washed up. People didn't believe in me. It's been a fight for me to believe in me.
Yeah.
That just shows the power of the sport and also the healing power of the sport.
Indeed.
Of being dented, being injured physically, psychologically, but persisting.
Yeah, she went, what was it, 9:03? I couldn't drive a Formula One car up there that quickly, honestly.
If I got up there within 20 minutes, I reckon I'd be pleased with
20 minutes. Oh my God, I'm losing my breath even hearing that target. 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Well, Giggles Gigante is going to race Richie Port up there, I believe. So
great.
We'll bring you coverage of that when we get it.
Yes, it's been very, very, very good to see. We're loving the action in Adelaide. Keep it coming. We'll continue. We'll wrap it all up in our next episode, of course. But can't wait to see who takes out the men's. And the action continues. And it's just good to see. It's good to see people lining the streets. It's good to see local businesses getting engaged and really embracing this festival. When we were there last year and saw it firsthand, I just want to quickly bring back a segment, if you don't mind. The Wheel of Misfortune. So
The Wheel of Misfortune.
Today's Wheel of Misfortune isn't on the bike, rather, but communication around the bike, and bikes communicating with their teams and fans communicating with one another, businesses being able to use the internet to make transactions, to take advantage of the carnival-like atmosphere. None of that was able to happen ahead of stage 2 of the men's race, of course, because our largest national telco, Telstra, had a massive outage in the Adelaide Hills. A massive, massive outage. Not the first outage we've seen from a telco, a bank or the like in the last couple of months. Luckily, they were able to get it sorted, but I'm just sitting there going, for FFS, what about the timing, guys? What about the timing?
Well, and people don't realise that a lot of the time when you're covering cycling in remote areas, they use, and Merxie can probably talk us through a little bit more, but you need phone coverage.
Yeah.
So they have multiple SIM cards in these little devices that sit with the camera operators in order to get the pictures back live.
Yeah.
It's not all satellite based.
Well, you've
and
absolutely. Sorry to cut you off, but Merxie's spoken about like when they go into tunnels.
Exactly. So it could have been very unfortunate. I mean, then maybe Phil Liggett on the coverage would have had to talk about cricket. To pad. He could have had Ricky Ponting on.
In his red smugglers.
Bring back the red smugglers, I say.
Well, in the team car too, they watch the race on the iPads.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So it's it can, really, really impact a team's harmonics.
I can confirm that riders are not allowed to take mobile phones in their pockets. And I know this because many years ago, an American guy, Will Frischkorn, he was riding for Garmin Slipstream at the time, and it was his final race, and he took his phone with him in the race and live tweeted from the back of the bunch.
Oh, as you do.
Well, it was his last pro race, and he thought, anyway, they poo-pooed that. Oh. They said, let's not do that again. Yeah, so they don't need it so that the riders can chat, but they need it for pretty much everything else.
Pretty much everything else. And I'm surprised they didn't fly Merxie down to help fix the problem, because if anyone could have got it sorted, let's be honest.
Yeah, but the problem is then we'd have to do this, and that would...
it would be an interesting episode. There'd be no audio. There'd be no video. It would just be us sitting and probably wouldn't know how to turn the lights on. So in darkness, talking about bikes.
It'd be like one of those voicemails that, Nana leaves, that she forgets to hang up. And so after a couple of minutes of giving the update about the flowers and the family, You then hear the kitchen and you hear everything until the voicemail goes.
Yeah.
Be like that.
Gee whiz, I've got a 2 minute and 38-second voice message. I wonder what's wrong. No, it's only a 10-second voice message. All those text messages where there's no punctuation or anything. It's just like, saw Bob at shop the other day. Martha's knee still no good. Kids coming over on weekend. Hope Johnny has got his school books in time. Love you very much. XXOO. John, how do I turn this off? We've all had one, let's be honest. So, fantastic. We love it. Let's head overseas on the Wheelhouse Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2. Wanted to get that in as well. Pretty proud of that. Let's go to Germany. Because there's news out of Germany, that Bora is getting audacious in its targeting. And I have a point to make here, but basically, your boy is in the crosshairs.
Who's my boy?
Well, I think we all know that Merksy is your boy, but
He is.
if not him... well, Van Aert
Yes. Well,
and
look,
Pizza Boy.
look, to be honest, if they were both linked to Bora-Hansgrohe or Red Bull, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd support
Hang on.
Merksy to do whatever he would
Oh,
like.
okay,
with
you
the
are
team.
talking about Merksy. Yeah,
I am
good,
talking.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, well, he's been linked now, hasn't
Strongly
he,
linked.
in the German media
Mm.
to Bora-Hansgrohe? He's
Stop
not the only one.
press.
He's not the only one.
Mm.
Remco,
Pizza Boy himself.
Pizza Boy himself. Well, look, I would say Red Bull is a higher on the sponsor chart than Domino's.
Pizza Hut?
Or Pizza Hut.
It was. I don't know.
See, it didn't have much cut through if I thought it was Domino's.
I'd love to put that question to him next time we chat to him, which I'm sure won't
well,
be too
he's
far
a
away.
fan,
He is
remember?
a fan.
Yeah, but they've been linked to the team
Yeah.
for 2025. Now, we know from the end of last season, all of these rumours and mess and, from the Out to Brooks saga, people sign and then dissolve contracts and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But this, I think, has some legs because
Okay.
Van Aert is sponsored by Red Bull. And further to that, his coach went with Roglic, the only coach he's ever had. So this will be his first season without his only ever coach.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make sense too.
Remco is also sponsored by Specialised.
Yeah, well, he's
Oh.
in the James Bond cocktail ball
He is.
fake photo shoot.
Yeah,
of
remember
course.
he's the one at the wedding
Yeah.
watching his daughter dance.
Well, yeah, sitting there,
Yes.
it's like, I don't even like dancing. I'm just going to sit. But yeah, Mark Lambert's
Yeah.
heading that way as well. But can I just say to Bora, wake up. You've got Sam Welsford.
No,
Save
hold
your
on.
cash.
They're awake. They're drinking Red Bull.
They're drinking.
They're the most
Trust
awake.
me, they haven't slept in days.
Maybe it's like back off the Red Bull guys. Have some
Yeah.
sleep. No, but I mean Welsford, that would be such a beautiful team.
Oh, wouldn't it be?
Because
Whew.
you would have this incredible team to support Welsford in the sprints. You'd have this incredible GC team as well with Roglic and Evenepoel and Hindley and
Who writes for who?
and Van Aert for everything else. Well, that's where it could become the next Jumbo.
Netflix doco.
Well, hopefully.
Let's be honest.
But
yeah.
the next Jumbo in terms of too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's what.
And I would say that Roglic would be like, hold the phone. I jumped across to avoid that. I don't want Remco here.
I'm going back to ski jumping. I've had enough. I'm sick of
knows?
cycling.
Definitely a documentary in that.
There is. What would we call it?
The Flying Slovenian?
Sure.
No?
I'm trying to think of a play on Bora. Is that never?
Oh, I know,
Bora
but you
in?
that was
Yeah.
on the spot. Like, if you want me to be witty, Joel,
We've got to
give
plan.
me a heads up.
We've got to plan our.
I know
bits,
you're
that's
the
fair.
funny man.
I'm not the funny man. Merksy's the funny man, aren't you, Merksy?
Oh, absolutely.
Bromance is not just Merksy and I having a wonderful bromance. There's another one in the world of cycling
There
as
is.
well. Now, Matthew VdPoel, not afraid to knock on the door and ask to borrow the dunny, but also not afraid to share some training kilometres with the world's best, with all, let's just say the world's most prominent at this time. None other than Tade himself. Seen, caught, captured. Where there's smoke, there's fire. They're training together.
See, there's a documentary. Tade and Mathieu, a bromance.
Yeah, check it. Here it is. This just dropped like 20 minutes ago. Here it is.
Fresh.
So they're out riding together,
There we
and
go.
Look at that.
the difference in frame is really quite remarkable
Mm.
to consider that they often race up in classics, like up climbs side by side.
Yeah.
But look at the sign over his shoulder. They've got to look out for cows.
Matthew, he's a hulking young man.
He is. I
Yeah,
mean,
Did he
maybe.
play rugby in high school?
No, he's very tall. He's a big frame.
He's
But
just a-
Pogacar's not actually tiny.
He's
I mean,
not a small guy.
180 centimetres. So,
Looking at the scale there.
yeah.
Matthew looks
But
like an
look, I
absolute
think it's really
giant.
cool that they're training together
Yep.
and they're forming some friendships.
It's great.
Well, I mean, look, if we're getting the kind of bromance over with Remco and Wout,
Mm.
if they head to Bora together,
Yeah.
and then this is our counter couple.
Cycling's power couples.
Yeah,
We got two,
yeah,
just like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
outstanding.
I'm thinking like if they all frock up for the a la specialised wind tunnel, we can have like a dance off. Although they're the fellas, but they can wear frocks if they want.
Remco doesn't want to
Suits,
dance,
frocks,
so
whatever.
I'm not dancing.
Well, then he's going to lose some points for his team, isn't it? I mean,
And Casper Asgreen's had too many beers. The bar tab took advantage of
he's
the
done.
bar
He's
tab.
just like,
Yeah.
if I have to sit through this, somebody grab me another brewski.
Big preparation happening for the Tour de France. We're talking about the Tour Down Under. We're talking about the Olympics a lot. But, of course, there is a couple of other minor events on the cycling calendar this year, Catherine, and this is what it's all about. We know Bora. We were talking about who would a super team ride for if they got all of those names. We know that they want to ride for one particular guy this year, and he's the guy who looks decidedly regal when he dons the tux and poses in the wind tunnel. I speak, of course, of Primoz Roglic.
Well, he has the full backing of his team, of Bora.
Yep.
So Hindley's going to the Tour with him to be his right-hand man. They're putting everything into the Tour preparation. And I think from everything that Roglic has said, this is his reason for changing teams. He won everything else. He wants to win the Tour. He doesn't think he can do it unless they are 100% in for him. And so Bora-Hansgrohe are 100% in.
Bora the Explorer.
Bora, I
They're
like that.
Going deep
Well,
with their ambitions.
I mean, there's quite a few stories like this actually, because back to Remco in the wind tunnel, it's not just in a suit that he's been sitting in the wind tunnel. He's been working really hard on his aero position. We talked previously about him reconning stages at the Tour, but now he's really dialing it. And Merckx said, why wouldn't they put a photo of him in the full position? Because they had a photo of him on social media sitting up in the wind tunnel or, up on the bars. And I tended to think that maybe they're pulling a few little tweaks to his position that they don't necessarily
They don't want to give it away.
want everyone to see.
Yep. They don't want to give it away.
No.
Yep.
But he's also in very clear Tour de France prep mode, which is cool. Now, the other one, not Tour de France, but talking of Grand Tours, is Ben O'Connor. We're missing him at the Tour Down Under.
We are.
But they've announced that he'll be heading to the Giro.
Fantastic.
Which is really cool. Now, he's been there 3 times already, but never, I think 20th was his top finish. He did win a stage, though, stage 17 in 2020, which was the 3rd appearance at the Giro.
Yep.
He then, with that promise, went on to focus on the Tour de France, and of course he won a stage there in 2021, was 4th on GC. Big promise there. He's had a few rough years. We've all seen the documentary.
Defying a sore bum.
Come on, Glutesy.
Yep.
Rebuilding the Glutes. Do you
Yep.
think that's maybe a doco name?
Yeah.
How do we
sure.
like that one?
It's sort-
I don't know.
yeah, a bowl of glutes.
Bowl?
maybe.
Where does bowl come in?
Bowl of fruits.
Bowl of fruit.
glutes.
Oh, I see. Play on words. I like that.
Play on words, but no relevance whatsoever to the particular muscle
All right.
group.
Look,
yeah.
we will train as hard for the naming as he is for the Giro. No, but I think it's exciting because Aussies just really want to see him back at his best. And the Giro shouldn't be seen as the race with less pressure. I mean, Pogacar's going to be there. It's going to be a massive. It's a great
Huge.
course, and for the sprinters, it's a great course as well. So Sam Welsford will be headed there. But it gives, I think, the fans as well as Ben O'Connor a really feel-good lead-in into a big season.
It's fantastic.
It's not all about the Tour. Like, it's so often in the season, it's all about the Tour de France. It's not all about the Tour de France.
It's way too much.
I mean,
going
that's
on.
exciting too, but
It's look, sure. No, of course, it's awesome. It's awesome. If you can help us out with some doco names, please
Oh,
do.
yes, please
on the
do.
socials, because
yes.
I just want to land on the right one for Glutesy. Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, bronzed. No, that's not it. Anyway, we'll keep working on that. Some good news as well. Some recognition, some beautiful recognition for some absolute Australian trailblazers this week. I think we've had 4 inductees into the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
We're going to spotlight 2 of them on the Wheelhouse podcast. Liz Heppel and Donna Ray both getting into that HOF, which is, look, let's just say a pretty decent hat tip to a career well done.
It is, yeah. Look, Donna Ray Solinsky, I have a lot to do with her these days because she works for AusCycling. She's had various roles kind of growing through the organisation in athlete development. She's been to Europe a lot with the young developing women's team, does a lot in selection, esports. She's kind of done it all. But she is incredibly valuable part of the Australian system. And we don't have a lot of female coaches. So that's pretty incredible. But what she did on the bike, she was just an absolute trailblazer in a period in women's cycling that there wasn't a lot of recognition.
Yep.
There certainly wasn't a lot of money. There was barely Olympic Games for them. You know, that didn't start nearly on par with the men. And we talked about that last week with Heather Kelson.
Yes.
Loretta Hanson's mum, who was the national champion in 1980 and then stepped back from the sport because there were just no opportunities for her. So both Donna Ray Solinsky and Liz Heppel were those trailblazers, and certainly it was their work and their adventures overseas and their battles that allowed me to have such a good career.
Yep.
And so personally, I just have so much respect and admiration for what they have both achieved. And Liz Heppel has a really similar story on the bike. She's just got some incredible firsts, including a podium at the Women's Tour de France.
First Australian, any gender, to get on the podium at the TDU.
At the Tour de France. So,
not bad.
And that was the old Tour de France before it had a big hiatus, but it was a real race then. They actually raced on the morning of the men's race and similar distances. So that was pretty incredible. But she's also had an incredible career in administration and education in the sports sector afterwards, and continues to a lot in athlete welfare space too, and advocating for athletes. So wonderfully well deserved, both of them.
So not just trailblazers, but mentors, guardians,
and continued.
sages.
And they're really good examples of people who we haven't lost through the sport, you know, who have really found their way to continue to contribute, and I love that.
Fun fact on Liz too, not just killing it on the bike, but killing it on the jog and in the ocean as well. She won the first ever Noosa triathlon. Anyone who's ever witnessed a Noosa triathlon knows that's a pretty difficult thing to do. So that was, I believe, 1983. And then a couple of years later, you know what? I'm not done yet. I'm going to get on the podium at the tour, blaze a trail, not just for young girls and women coming through the sport, but men as well. First Aussie. There you go. There's your benchmark. Good luck to you all.
Boom.
Yeah, fantastic. Happy to see them both in the Hall of Fame. When are they coming on, Merksy?
Sorry, I'm just on Instagram here. Yeah, we'll get them on. We'll have a chat.
Sure.
Instagram. Oh,
I'm looking at Pogacar's Insta. See if he's put up any more pictures.
Any more bro pictures up against his gigantic best mate?
Well, listen, it's been a big week on the Wheelhouse.
Yes.
If I may, Joel.
You may. Hang on, what?
Can I take us out just with some more beautiful
I'd love
words
that.
from Johnny Long?
All I want to say is like, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know, and if you have any questions as to why, Kate is now going to prove why it's a good idea.
The name is Alaphilippe, Julian Alaphilippe. As the new 00 Sept takes on his first task as a secret agent, avenging his cousin Frank's sacking by creeping into Patrick Lefevre's house before he gets home in the evening and scaring the bejesus out of him by appearing from behind the curtain as his manager sits down to quaff a large glass of red wine after another long day of using the media as a stick with which to beat his riders.
Keep going.
Lorena Vibes looks like Galadriel out of Lord of the Rings. And Casper Asgreen, he's at the same wedding as Remco of VdPoel, but he's drunk 17 more beers.
He's drunk 17 more beers. I love how it goes
So
from
there
this
you go.
elegant, beautiful, stylish to he's been punching beers all night.
Yes. Straight backs, slightly upturned noses. This is fantastic.
They're
Johnny
awesome.
Long, you are my MVP of the week. Sam Welsford, you're pretty good. Isaac Del Toro, wow. Sarah Gigante, love your work. But Johnny Long for the win.
And it's given me an excuse to bring out a pretty poor audio version of the James Bond theme.
Merxy, you'll have to check the rights on that one.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, Merxy.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Tell everyone you know. It's the Wheelhouse Podcast. We'll be back to do it all again.
You too drunk?
Maybe high.
You might be drunk.